Fellow Falcoholics, what is up? Welcome to episode 95 of the Falcoholic Live. I am, of course, your host, Kevin Knight, joined tonight by my co-host, Mr. Adnan Ikic, back from his travels over the weekend, joining us here on Wednesday night. Adnan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and damn, 95 shows, huh?
It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, it probably feels just like yesterday that you were putting up show number one, huh?
Yep. Doing the, 2017 draft party and complaining about the Tack McKinley pick, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it seems like just yesterday. So,
Yeah.
legendary facial reactions on that one, that's for sure.
What are we gonna do for show number 100? Have you given it any thought?
I know we're going to try to get as many people on as we can and do some sort of, fun type of thing. It'll be after the season based on the number of shows, I believe. So it'll be sometime after the season ends.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything to do with this season after it ends.
Yeah, it'll probably be like the week Dan Quinn gets fired, and then we could have a celebration or something. We're freed.
It'll be the week Dan Quinn gets that 4-year extension.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I don't want to we don't want to make total light of someone losing their job. I think we all like Dan Quinn personally, so that part of it is not fun, but it's for the good of the team. I think we believe so.
For sure.
But on a good note, they did win. The Falcons did defeat the Panthers pretty handful. I mean, it depends on your angle, but I mean, it's nice to sweep a division opponent, even one as hapless as the Panthers right now. The Falcons obviously doubled up the score. They dropped a 40 burger on Carolina. The offensive line actually looked good for a change. The pass rush looked good for a change. The running game looked good for the only time of the whole season. For a change, really everything the stars aligned for them to win this game. So, Adnan, I talked about it a bit on Sunday, so I'll kind of give you the floor to talk about what some of your main takeaways from Sunday's victory were.
How good the right side of the offensive line looked. The offensive line in general looked really good, but Caleb McGarry had his best game of the season, and I don't think it's that much of a coincidence that it happened with Chris Lindstrom back in the lineup for the first time this season.
Right.
I think it's huge knowing that you have that sturdy right guard. And we know Chris Lindstrom, he's a rookie. He's not Marshall Yonda out there. But, he's definitely a lot better than Jamon Brown or James Carpenter or Wes Schweitzer. So I think it really is it's very beneficial to both Alex Mack and Caleb McGarry having a technician like a Lindstrom whom they can trust to do his job next to them, so they're not overcompensating for when Wes Schweitzer gets beat, and then after they overcompensate, then that leaves them open and susceptible to their man beating them. So that was the biggest takeaway. I'm super happy for Olamide Zaccheaus, who got his first NFL catch, and that one went for 93 yards and a touchdown, the longest first catch for any player in NFL history. So, congratulations to him. I'm sure he's going to keep that game ball forever.
Forever, yeah.
I know I would.
Oh yeah, I mean, you don't know how many chances you're going to get in the NFL for something like that. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's huge. It's not just a first catch. It's not just a 2-3 yard slant first catch like what Michael Thomas gets. It's that was big time. That was legit. The run game looked good. Everything looked good, like you said. Younghoe Koo, I want to give him a shout out, the special teams player of the week. He recovered that fumble, and he was one broken tackle away from scoring a touchdown there. He was looking for the end zone on that play. He hit a career long 50-yarder, which did not look convincing. He hit the upright on it. He hit the post on it and went in. But hey, they all count the same. I like what Younghoe Koo does in terms of he fills his gap with integrity. He always gets down there like he's on a mission to be a part of the play. He's not one of those players where he kicks it and then he runs off the field pretty much.
Right.
So that's really beneficial. And I'm sure the Falcons special teams love having an extra player being able to do that, just like Matt Bosher with punts. So I wanted to give him a shout out. And I mean, it was overall a really good win.
Yeah.
And really bad if you were on board the chase for Chase Young.
Yeah, the chase for Young might be over. We will see. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of football left to be played, like 4 wins. If they don't win any more games, I mean, there's a chance.
They're going to win at least 2 more.
They'll probably beat the Jaguars. I mean, I couldn't foresee the Jaguars really being this bad, but, I mean, so they'll probably beat the Jaguars, but, and who knows against the Bucs? Like, the Bucs could come in and look really good or really bad. That's kind of just who the Bucs are, but at least one more loss probably guaranteed, and that'll be this Sunday's game, more than likely. But it would be just like them to beat the 49ers and make sure the Saints get back into the one-seeder.
Beat the 49ers. Like, do not... Like, even if it wasn't like a tanking type scenario, we're out of the playoffs, do not beat the 49ers and give the Saints a chance to get that number 1 seed again.
Yeah, no.
I am here for the 49ers beating us. And, I mean, I won't have to worry too much about it because Kyle Shanahan is just like a wizard out there. Some of the plays he called in that Saints game, like that fullback option play where he like it's like a handoff to the fullback and he can either run or pitch it out to Mostert. That was just like Dirk Cutter would never.
His head exploded when he watched the film of that play. It does not compute. Like misdirection. I don't know what this even is.
Well, why isn't he running up the middle?
I mean, these are the big questions, right? Like, if you don't run up the middle, like, how are you supposed to get those 3 yards per carry? You know, and if you know, as you know, the math says that if you get 3 yards per carry and you run it all 4 downs, you'll get a first down every time.
Exactly. I mean, 4 times 3 equals 12.
Yep.
10 yards.
That's all you need.
Yeah, you just have to keep doing that all the way down the field.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's not going to be. It's probably going to be a pretty bad game this weekend, so we're not going to spend too much time on that one. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said about the Panthers game. I mean, Lindstrom did look really good. Both him and Gono honestly looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like there was a big drop off when Lindstrom left and Gono came in, which is honestly like another indictment of this coaching staff that Gono was supposed to be the starter at right tackle, gets hurt, and then never gets a chance until like week 14. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I know Thomas Dimitroff is like desperately trying to prove that he didn't waste all that money on these 2 free agent guards, but like at a certain point you gotta like let's man up here and just play the best 5 offensive linemen we have, and it seems pretty clear now. We'll see with Gono. Hopefully he'll get some more opportunities, but that Matt Gono is probably one of the best 5 offensive linemen on the roster, if we're being honest.
And God knows how good Deidrin Snott's going to be when he finally gets a chance.
Yeah, I mean, no, Deidrin Snott isn't the witness protection program, okay? I'm not even convinced Deidrin Snott's a real person. I think
he doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's just a roster saver for Derek Brown when we draft him, so he's just going to stand in. So yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know. It's like weird because we thought when Dan Quinn came in here, he was the guy that was willing to play like any young player. Like, he doesn't care. He didn't care if you were an undrafted guy or not. Like, if you looked better than who he had, you were playing. And now he's Mike Smith. Like, he just won't play anyone until it absolutely. We had to have like 3 offensive linemen with concussions before Matt Gono got a chance to see the field. I mean,
I think that has something to do with the fact that Dan Quinn is visibly coaching for his job now. And I mean, veterans obviously play better than rookies most of the time. I think it's a difference as opposed to when Dan Quinn was here, and Dan Quinn knew he for a fact had 4 or 5 years coaching this team. There wasn't like massive expectations on him at the very start, so he was trying out the young guys, giving them an opportunity, as opposed to now it was a win or you're out season.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like, we're out. Like, we're not gonna win and like get into the playoffs, but I think Dan Quinn is trying to like go out there and have something toward the end to showcase his coaching credentials, either for the Falcons for next season or somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird year because of that. Like, like when they traded Mohamed Sanu, you'd think that was kind of them throwing in the towel, like, okay, we're not going to make the playoffs this year. But they've like continued to treat the roster like they are going to go to the playoffs, and like they're competing every week. And like, honestly, we just need to see these young guys. Like, where's Jordan Miller? Like, I guess we're going to see him now because Trufant's on IR. But again, it's like we're not getting a chance to even evaluate our depth guys, until we've had copious injuries at the position, and this is wasted time. Like if you don't need to compete for a playoff spot, if you don't need to win every single game, like getting your young guys these reps, like that is something that is valuable even in a season where you're not competing for the playoffs. And it just seems like, it must be that Quinn's just desperate to try to win some games to save his job, but like, that must be what it is. I can't think of any other logical explanation.
And you look at what happened when they finally gave Kendall Sheffield an opportunity, and Kendall Sheffield's he's looked really good. Like he has that blazing fast speed, and he is our slot cover guy of the future. Like he definitely has a future here in the NFL, and I think that's gonna look like a very, very good pick down the line. But yeah, that's just like a testament. These young players, you never know what you have with them until you give them the opportunity. So, I'm kind of hoping. I can't wait to see what we get with Jordan Miller. Olamide Zaccheaus will get a few more opportunities down the stretch. Matt Gono, it will be massive if Matt Gono proves to be a starting caliber offensive lineman, because then you go into next season and you don't have to worry about your left guard spot potentially.
Yeah.
Because this team, they're not getting any guards in free agency.
They're probably getting Austin Hooper in free agency, and that's it.
Free agency, just a word of warning in terms of free agency. It'll be tagging or giving Austin Hooper a long-term contract, and then that's it.
Yeah. Maybe some cheap depth guys. Maybe re-signing someone like Tyler Davison for $1 million or something, but that very minimal.
Splash.
Yeah, very minimal, because the cap space is a big issue, especially since it looks like the cap might even be under $200 million. It's possible it'll be slightly over, but if it's under $200 million, the Falcons are in even worse trouble, because I think we were basically all expecting a $200 million cap, and I guess they announced that it would be between 198 and 201. So hopefully it'll be on the higher end of that to give the Falcons some relief, and there are definitely some ways that they can save some easy money. We talked about it earlier in the season. Someone like Alan Bailey, you could save almost $4.5 million just by cutting him. And it's not like Bailey's been a bad player, but if they need the cap space, they can't really afford him. They might have some difficult choices to make if they want to keep someone like Hooper. Luke Stalker's another guy you can save $2.6 million for moving on from him, especially with Jaden Graham in the wings. That might be another place to save some money.
Well, they should have traded Freeman to the Lions, and they were already out. But
no kidding. No kidding.
That you could have cleared the books completely of him, but no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, I believe we still would have owed his signing bonus, but
we're probably going to cut him anyway.
We're going to cut him, definitely. So whoever the new coach is, assuming it's not Dan Quinn, is going to cut Devontae Freeman and bring in probably a day 2 or day 3 running back, I would assume. So
oh boy, another day 2 running.
Woo!
It's becoming a yearly tradition at this point.
Well, when was the last time we took a day 2 running back? It was Coleman, right?
Last year didn't.
No, that was day 3 because it was.
Oh yeah,
Quadri was 5th, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Edo Smith was later.
That was day 3 too. Yeah. So I think it was Coleman. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking we take a running back in the draft every single year.
That's a good idea for every team. If you hit on a guy that's good on day 3, then you just ride him for 4 years and then you move on. That's how this works.
Yeah, but we haven't hit on anyone.
I don't know. I like Ito, but his concussion issues scare me. Olesen, I don't like. The problem with Olesen is we're gonna go. I hope we go back to West Coast zone scheme, and then I don't know how good Olesen really is for that scheme. I think he'll be fine, but I don't think that's something he could excel in. Hopefully Ito's healthy and can be it, but I think Ito's probably an RB2 at best. So yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of running backs in this class. The fact that there are so many means that some are going to fall. So it'll be interesting to see.
We'll get more into it. We'll get more into it in the coming weeks and months. Ahead of draft season.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's some guys people like. Chuba Hubbard's a name. Obviously, the top three guys, Etienne, Swift, and Jonathan Taylor are all, big names. But I don't think any of those big three are going to fall past like the mid-second. So
Yeah, but it's also a question, and it probably will be when we get closer to draft time. Do you burn a second round pick on a guy like Etienne and then hope that you don't have to worry about the running back position at all from then on?
yeah, I mean, I think someone like Etienne, like an elite running back, someone that could be an elite guy. I think this year or next year, if they do move on from Freeman, I think that is something that could make financial and like competitive sense because they'll be cheap. It's a second round pick. They'll be a cheap contract, and you get them for that. Hopefully this kind of key 4-year span here, where we're going into the later part of Ryan's career, and he can be paired hopefully with what could be an elite running back, an elite run game that could possibly help take some of the pressure off him as he continues to progress as a quarterback. I think Etienne's like a perfect fit for a West Coast offense too, but.
And then also you have the Patriots second rounder,
Yeah.
which also like plays a role into the fact that okay, you're giving a second rounder for a running back, which you probably weren't expecting to this year, but you still have that other second rounder to lean on anyway.
Yeah.
And that second rounder, in my eyes, is a straight up bonus because I think we were going to cut Mohamed Sanu one way or another this offseason.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting to have that extra second round pick. And I know it'll be like a third rounder, but it's still really nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And getting that extra second round pick, like you said, that's a huge thing for giving them the flexibility to potentially, say one of those top 3 elite running backs is still there at the top of the second. Having that extra second gives them the flexibility to take a running back there, even though it's probably obviously not their biggest need. But they, with having that additional second in your back pocket means that you can double up basically on a pick because you're going to pick towards the end of the draft. The Patriots, they're starting to look like maybe they're not going to be in Super Bowl contention at this point. So they will. They're going to be in the playoffs, obviously, but like, say they lose in like the divisional round, that could be like the 28th pick or something instead of the 31st pick or the 32nd pick. So that matters. And then you're going to pick again, 10 picks later or so in the second round. So, the Falcons can take 2 guys in that late second, early third range. You could get, a developmental center potentially, like a versatile guy there. You could, get some more cornerback or defensive line help. It just really depends on what you want. But it'll be interesting to see how the board falls because there's a distinct possibility that we're looking at, Etienne or Swift, because it seems like Jonathan Taylor's kind of the consensus number 1 at this point. I think I would definitely consider taking Etienne with that upper second, depending on what we get in the first. Like if we get, say, like AJ Ep95 with that first pick, I'd be more comfortable taking a running back. If we don't get an edge, then we have to take an edge with that top pick. There's no.
All I know is if we don't get a dog in the first 3 rounds, this draft is a failure.
Hey, I got Solomon Kinley in my mock with that 3rd round pick. Okay, so that checked that Georgia box for everyone. So.
First pick Jake Fromm, who is absolutely a game manager and should not go anywhere before the 3rd round, in my opinion.
No. Yeah.
But he's a dog.
He's a dog.
So that shoots him up the draft boards.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Second pick Swift. Yeah, we got to get the kicker.
Yeah,
in here.
Rodrigo Blankenship. I mean, look, if he's there in the 7th round, I wouldn't mind spending that 7th rounder on him, get him in here. But like the thing with Koo is like I love Koo. I love his like attitude. I love everything about him except the fact that I'm like really not sure he can make kicks like 50 or longer. I'm just really unconvinced. But it's valuable to have a kicker that's like, say he's basically automatic from less than 50, and he's a great like directional kicker and onside kicker and all that stuff. Like you could maybe talk yourself into that being okay with that. This offense should be good enough that you're not having to kick like 50+ yard field goals all the time. But
I don't think you can have a kicker who can't hit 50+ yarders because you look at it, they cut Bryant for missing those 50+ yarders. Like Bryant was automatic as well inside 50. I think he missed like 1 kick inside 50 all season. But yeah, it's in today's day and age, in today's NFL, with the big legs that kickers have, I don't think you can get away with the kicker not being able to hit from 50 plus. And
Yeah.
I think if Koo doesn't prove that he can hit from 50 plus, I don't think he'll have a future in the NFL.
Probably not. No, and it's sad because I think he's really talented. We saw he's a phenomenal onside kick specialist.
No, 3 in a row.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that is uncanny.
What are the odds? What are the chances that you get 3 in a row? And one of them was called back for offside, which wasn't an offside, which is why I'm counting it. What are the odds that you get 3 onside kicks in a row against a team that's expecting it?
Yeah, I mean that is, and we blew it too. That's what makes it even worse. I was about to be so hyped. Like, oh my god, 3 onside kicks. Like that would have been the most embarrassing way to beat the Saints too.
I mean, had we scored, we would not have gotten that 2 points.
Oh no, definitely not. But it would have been fun to to think that we had a chance. But it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, Koo will get a chance to kind of prove himself. I do think that the fact that he's had so much success here early on, hopefully that's building his confidence, and that when he does have to make a 50-plus yarder, he can, he'll be confident and he can nail it. Because we saw what happened with Giorgio, he nailed some 50-plus yarders when he came in, towards the end of 2018. And then what happened? He got his confidence shot in the preseason, and he was just done. You just yoinked every single kick after that. So, the confidence is a big part of it. So hopefully the fact that he feels like he's established, obviously they're not going to cut him this season. So he's got basically until the end of the season to prove himself. I hope Koo can pull it off because I like him. I think he's a good dude, and I love his hustle on special teams. I love his directional kicking ability. I mean, no offense to Matt Bryant, but he wasn't going to be down there in position to catch that fumble. Okay, and if he was, he would be the most legendary 45-year-old field goal kicker I've ever seen. But yeah, it's I like him, and so I'd like to see it work out if possible. I know someone had some draft related questions. Paul Mack thinks we should pick up FSU defensive tackle Marvin Wilson in the 3rd round. And Paul Mack, I love Marvin Wilson, but when I did my first mock and I took him in the 3rd round, that was probably a little aggressive, a little aggressive because he's probably going to be a 1st-round pick at this point. People have really kind of discovered him and bought into his hype, and for those that don't know, Marvin Wilson is the latest in the line of Dontari Poe type nose tackles, big, strong, and freakishly athletic, and that's just kind of who he is. And those guys always end up going higher than you think. And I don't think he's going to go as high as Dexter Lawrence because I don't know. New York Giants, they've got that probably number 2 or number 3 pick, but they're probably going to use that on Derek Brown. So the next time they'd be able to take a defensive tackle, a nose tackle, would be in the 2nd round. So maybe there's a chance, but the New York Giants are almost certainly going to snipe him at some point. Next one, Paul Mack again asked, what pick do we predict that the Falcons will have in the 1st round? So I'll let you kind of take the first stab at this one. Where do you realistically expect the Falcons to end up in terms of draft order?
11 or 12, to be honest.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but that this team is going to do something dumb.
Yeah.
Beat the Jags. I think they'll beat both the Jags and the Buccaneers, to be honest with you. We're not going to beat the 49ers, but it's going to be just like last season. The Bucs, Mike Evans is down for the season. Jameis Winston, for now, is hobbled. We're going to go up there in Tampa. We're going to beat them in Week 17 like we did last year. We're going to beat the Jags, who look terrible. If it was up to me, I'm down for losing out and getting that top 5 pick. But, we're not going to. So I'm already expecting us to win 2 more games and to really tank this draft positioning that we have.
Yeah, and I think they're probably going to end up right about where they are now. I think they're probably going to be picking about 8th. And the only reason I say they're going to kind of maintain this is because the teams ahead of them and behind them, some of them are going to win and lose. The Dolphins or the Bengals have to win. I think there's a couple. There's a lot of those teams that are going to be playing each other and potentially winning games. So I think the Falcons could kind of basically tread water. If they beat the Jags and don't win any other games, I think they'll keep right about where they are. If they win 2 games, though, yeah, they're probably going to be picking around 10, 11. It just depends on depends on a lot of teams, but like the Broncos won, that helps them. The Dolphins look like they can win some games, so I mean that could help them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals won another game. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean if they lose out, they'll be picking in the top 5. If they win one game, probably about where they are now. If they win 2 games, probably around pick 10, pick 11.
If they somehow win all 3 games.
If they win all 3 games, probably like late teens. So that would be the worst case scenario, and Quinn would probably save his job too, just because.
No. I'd be furious.
Well, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready to be furious because James is writing that article like, oh, they're gonna keep Quinn. He's like playing the heel card here, but.
No, like the thing is, and I get it, somebody has to.
Yeah.
But remember what we said: the expectations coming into it, playoffs. At minimum, you have to make the playoffs with this roster, with how much money is invested. I'm not changing my mind on that with Dan Quinn winning 3 meaningless games at the end of the season like he did last year. Like I think he has to be gone no matter what, no matter how we look in these last 3 games.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, and I know someone has asked about Lane Hester asked if we believe they'll still get rid of Quinn, and I ultimately do think they're going to move on from Quinn no matter what happens. Obviously, if he wins out, that probably makes it a little bit harder for Blank, but I mean, he's not going to win out. They're going to lose to the 49ers. They're probably going to lose to the Bucks, just because, and they'll beat the Jags. So that's. Whatever that's worth, which is basically nothing because the Jags are the worst team in the NFL. But, yeah, I mean, I think you have to move on. I think you have to decide now is the time to get that offensive head coach and correct the mistake that you made, which was to pair Matt Ryan with 2 defensive head coaches. And look, let's just admit that the offense is the engine of this team and, get a head coach that understands that for once.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson will look.
Bring me Hugh. No, I know.
What do you want, Hugh?
Yeah, I know Samuel Rawan asked us about McCarthy, if the article that came out about him has kind of changed our minds, and it hasn't for me, honestly. I'm glad McCarthy's actually trying to pay attention to modern football and stuff like that. But look, at the end of the day, I hate to tell you this, but coaches really don't change usually. It is unusual for coaches to change. They're some of the most stubborn people in the world. And so I'm happy that McCarthy is open to these new ideas and things like that and trying to keep up with what's going on in the modern NFL. But look, I mean, this guy was gifted the NFL's best quarterback at the time. Not anymore, in my opinion. And he won 1 Super Bowl and then just decided that he wasn't going to change anything after that, anything ever again. And within a year or 2, that offense was in the tank. And
yeah, he was getting those massages.
I'm sorry, but if you get fired and your team improves, I don't want you coaching my team. I'm sorry. You could be a coordinator somewhere. You could be an assistant, but I don't what are we doing here if we're gonna hire a coach whose team improved when he left? That I'm sorry, but I can't do that in good conscience. So
yeah, and I agree with you that especially someone who's that old in regard to coaching experience, I don't think that he'll change his ways that much, or he may at first, and then he'll just revert back to what he was.
Yeah, I agree, and it just no, I'm a no on McCarthy. I mean, would it be catastrophically bad, we're making it sound? Probably not, but I feel his upside is Mike Smith. This team is going to be maybe winning a lot of games because they have good talent, and then just won't be able to get it done in the playoffs. I mean, that was McCarthy's MO. They got that 1 Super Bowl and then he just blew it in the playoffs every year. So I'm just not that interested in him. Someone else will certainly give him a job, and good luck to whoever does that, but it's not me.
Yeah, I mean, if we hire McCarthy, then we can't hire Jason Garrett to be our.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Exactly. Vlad Tepes asks us, what are our thoughts on Josh McDaniels? The answer is absolutely not. I would be shocked if Blank even considers McDaniels after what he did this offseason, basically, screwing over the team that was going to hire him and had already announced hiring him. I think that has a lot more staying power than people are making it out. I feel a lot of teams are going to be very, very leery of giving that man another chance because of what he did. He embarrassed that team. I mean, that's not cool in the NFL. And Blank has had his coach quit mid-season. Like, you think he's really going to give an offer to a guy that, like, basically went back on agreeing to be somebody's coach? Like, that, I feel like that is the one way to guarantee Blank will never hire you, and I think he did that. So I also don't think he can do anything outside of New England. But
yeah, and I was gonna say, because of the Petrino fiasco, I don't believe for a second that we're considering Josh McDaniels. In a vacuum, Josh McDaniels as a head coach, I mean, would be a good head coach, like in terms of just pure on the field X's and O's. But we all know that to be a head coach, it's much more than just X's and O's. Like, there's way more on your plate than just that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an assistant, if you're an OC, then yeah, like, all that matters is you're on the field stuff, X's and O's. But as a head coach, you're pretty much like the face of that team, the face of that franchise, other than the quarterback also. So I don't think, after the Petrino stuff, I don't think that Blank is even considering it. I don't think he's even going to look at McDaniels.
Yeah. And, look, Patriots coaches just don't succeed outside of New England. It's very unusual. It's very rare. I mean, look at Matt Patricia. I mean, he's had 2 just god-awful seasons now with the Lions, and might be on the way out himself. And, he was considered to be one of the hottest names in coaching. And McDaniels had his shot once, and he failed. And, he deserves another one probably, just not with the Falcons. So, not my choice there. William Woodall asks, what are the chances that Devontae Freeman's on the roster next year? Low. Very, very low.
20%.
Yeah, that's fair. I was going to say like 15, but we won't quibble over 5%. Yeah, I mean, financially, they could save a lot by moving on from him in 2020. They probably need the money desperately if they wanted to keep Hooper. So if they keep Freeman, they're probably saying no to Hooper, which would be just incredibly stupid on a lot of levels.
Yeah, and if we keep Freeman, he'll probably get hurt by like week 3 anyway next season. Just calling a spade a spade.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because Freeman's an awesome guy. He's really fun. Like, when he's healthy, I think he can still be a good running back when he's healthy, but I don't think you can trust him as your lead back anymore because of his health issues. And I think he can carve out a role. I mean, look at LaShawn McCoy. I mean, he's still playing well into his 30s as like a committee back. I think that's probably where Freeman's headed now. Not meant in a disparaging way or anything like that, but I think you can't really trust him as your lead guy anymore. Just the injuries. There's been a lot of them. If he's healthy, I think he can still produce just fine, especially as a receiving back. But he's making way too much money to be the Falcons' receiving back in 2020. So you can't. I think financially it just doesn't make any sense, especially if a new GM and coach are in here. They're not going to have any loyalty to him. I'd be shocked if he's here personally. Malachi Mahaffey asks, do we think that there's a chance we will trade up for Chase Young? There's always a chance. I mean, having that extra second round pick is helpful, but we basically need to be in the top 5 probably to make that happen. So if we were picking like 5th, and the Giants were saying like we're gonna take him if nobody else trades up, maybe we could convince them to trade for those 2 second round picks, but probably not. They're probably going to be wanting another first, I would say. And I don't think it's worth trading an extra first to move up 3 spots. I just don't agree with that. So, I mean, it just depends probably on what's going on there. But if the Falcons are picking like 8th, they're not going to be able to get up to that second pick without giving up next year's first. And Chase is really good, don't get me wrong, but trading multiple firsts, I mean, that's just... It's hard to justify that, honestly. Chase Young is like one of those players that maybe you could justify it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that idea, Adnan?
I don't like trading multiple firsts for anyone that's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
And only if my team really needs a quarterback. So I probably wouldn't, unless it's also like the exception is if he's that one piece that'll like set you over the top for the Super Bowl, and he's not. This team is many pieces away from the Super Bowl. more so than I thought coming into this season. I wouldn't. It's always a slippery slope. It's always very risky giving multiple first round picks. I don't think that like you said, maybe if we lose out and end up with like the 5th pick, and we can use those second rounders, I'd be all for it. But I don't think that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just like mentally going away from Chase Young and looking at the secondary options at this point.
Yeah, probably. And I know we had a question about Ep95, and I like Ep95 personally. I'd be totally fine taking him with like a top 5 pick, because if Chase Young wasn't here, Ep95 would be talked about like he was Chase Young. I mean, he would be the top edge. He'd be that bona fide top 5 talent. He just kind of gets forgotten about because Chase Young is so godly. But yeah, Ep95 is like a Michael Bennett type. I mean, he's big. And he's, unusually quick and bendy for someone that size. I think he's 6'6", 280. So he's, an Adrian Clayborne, Michael Bennett type, a perfect fit in Quinn's defense. Who knows what the next defensive coordinator is going to bring in. But that's the thing about a player that size. Like, he can basically fit in any scheme, too. He can play some inside as well, in pass rushing sets. He's a really good run defender. I mean, I love Ep95. I'm totally happy. Like, if we're picking 8th, like, sign me up for him all the way. Like, I mean,
he'll fit like a glove in Marvin Lewis's team. Head coach next year.
Oh God.
Ep95, he's one of those secondary players that I was talking about. Him and Derek Brown.
Yeah.
Are in that second tier after Chase Young. Chase Young I put in a tier by himself.
Yes. Yeah. Certainly.
So
Chase Young and Burrow are kind of like by themselves.
Oh yeah. No. I mean for us. Like,
Definitely.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah. No, we're not. No, if you ask, some people we are.
Trade that extra first rounder for Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, baby.
He's really good though.
He is good.
So good.
He's really good. Yeah.
Like if I was a Bengals fan, I would be pressed if we won too many games for Joe.
Oh yeah.
Where it like cost him Joe.
No, they're gonna take Chase Young, bro. They're gonna re-sign Andy Dalton.
Oh. No, they're gonna roll with Ryan Finley.
Hell yeah. Nothing sells tickets like Ryan Finley.
Oh yeah, no. I watched Joe Burrow just tear into Georgia, like absolutely tear into them in the SEC championship game. He's the real deal. Like he is going to be special in the NFL. But so. Ep95, 100%. Like where we're picking right now, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
Well, and if he's on the board, they will not take him.
We don't know because we're probably gonna have a new coach and general manager.
New regime.
So
it could be a new
so
regime.
we'll have no idea. Like I finally got to the point where I could like predict draft picks for this team, and then they're gonna clean house. So all that experience, just throw it out the window. But I mean, picking number 8. I would be totally happy with Ep95. Derek Brown too. I guess the big question, would be like if both Brown and Ep95 are there, which one do you prefer? So where do you stand on that side of the debate?
I think Derek Brown's a better player. Overall.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, like when you're picking the top 10, and you have 2 players that are like really good in 2 positions where you really need them. Like I think we need D end more than we need D tackle, but we need both positions, and I don't think you can look at positions. I think at that point you just look at who's better. And so I'd go with Brown just because I think he's a better overall player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that I think Brown is like a just slightly better player than Ep95, but I guess I would go the other direction because I think the Falcons' defensive tackles are fine, largely. I mean, they have Grady Jarrett. I think that edge position across from Tack is like a barren wasteland.
What do you mean? We're going to re-sign Vic?
Hell yeah, buddy. No. God, no. God.
Yep,
God,
14
no.
mil a year.
Jesus.
Didn't you see those strip sacks?
My nightmare. Yeah. Vic always puts some of these games on tape at the end of the season to like really make it hard for the team to like move on.
We'll have another emergency show.
Oh yeah. That's the only time we ever had an emergency show, and we had to come on here and like rail on that. We were so right too. So, in hindsight, we were 100% right to like call out the team for that dumb mistake. So,
are we gonna have one after we figure out who the new head coach is going to be?
Probably. Hopefully they'll, sync it up with the Wednesday show, but, obviously we will.
No, they should. They should
Yeah,
for us.
yeah, definitely for us. Do us a solid, Falcons. But no, we'll definitely have to come on and talk about the new coach when it happens.
Yeah, after all the articles we've written this year, they will not be doing us any sense.
Yeah, well, I'll be happy if I can just go to the game in a couple weeks. So, we'll start there.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
We'll start there.
Yeah,
but
they took away Matt Chambers' credentials.
Matt Chambers. I mean, that one's not totally shocking, but
no, not at all. I'm so glad that I went to the game before writing that Dan Quinn article, because I kind of feel like my credential would have gotten lost in the mail.
It's like, oh yeah, I don't know what happened, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't answer any of Gina's emails.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I kind of getting back on track here without slandering the team too much, because we gotta watch our own credentials at this point. So,
no, but one thing, legitimately, we will not be like the Atlanta Falcons .com site where we only give you guys just the positive spin, just it's all sunshine and rainbows. When something happens, when the team deserves criticism, we'll criticize them, and when they do something praiseworthy, we'll praise them. That's one thing I love about us, that we're legitimately unfiltered, and we are absolutely not influenced by the team at all. We're not looking at things will the team be mad about this? Probably, but that's not our job to worry about. Our job is to tell you guys, analyze critically about stuff that when the criticism is warranted. Yeah
exactly. And that's and look, we have you guys to thank for making us the number one Falcons site year in and year out, and it's partially because of the back and forth we have with you, because the comment section on the Falcoholic is always very lively, for better or worse. And, we appreciate you guys for helping us out there. But, we think you guys come back to us because we aren't afraid to call out the team when they deserve to be called out. And for the most part, we do good takes. I mean, obviously, we have some bad ones mixed in. You can't have 100% good take hit rate, unless you're just a computer.
Yeah, Matt Chambers is still on.
Yeah, we have Matt Chambers to fill our bad take quota. But, and we have Corey, too, every once in a while. But, we try to give you guys, a balanced take, and I guess that maybe comes off as overly negative to some. I think, and then a lot of times we're accused by you guys of being too positive. So I think if we're being accused of being overly negative and overly positive, that probably means we're doing a good job. Because we're probably right in the middle. Yes, exactly. Yeah, at least we're not blogging dirty. Thank you, Soler. That's the highest compliment we could receive. We used to be, yeah. Anna and I in particular. So we know,
Not the Falcoholic. Me and Kevin used to write the blogging dirty back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't as bad when we were writing there. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah, because we were there.
Yeah, exactly. We were, holding them up in a big way. But thank you, Dave Choate, for rescuing us from that dark abyss of Falcons takes. Because that site is just total trash now. So
if I was still there, I wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I'd be no, I'm gonna just bow out. I'm gone. I'm just gonna write on my WordPress or something.
I'll retire in grace.
Yes.
Just, not have my name associated.
Yes, exactly. All right, we do have some more questions, so we got to take a break from the blogging dirty slander. Don't worry, we'll have plenty of it in the off season.
There's a long off season.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do a whole show devoted to blogging dirty slander. But
we can tell stories from the past. We'll have Eric there as well.
Yes, hopefully Eric will be back this spring. That would be awesome. But yeah, let's see. I know folks are asking about what we think about Jeffrey Okudah, the Ohio State corner, as a potential pick at number, I guess, whatever number they have in the first round. Yeah, I know you're not a. Are you not a big fan of Okudah, or you just don't want to take a corner?
I'm not a big fan of corners in the first round. No, you have Trufant. You have Oliver, whom you spent a second-round pick on. You have Sheffield,
who's good,
who's looking really good.
And Oliver could improve. I think they should add a corner. Just
not in the first round.
Not
in the top 10.
Yeah, since the bye, the corners have looked like they're serviceable at worst. So I don't know that like I had them taking Okuda actually, like in my first mock, because before the bye it was like a disaster area with those corners. Like no one looked good. Then they finally started giving Sheffield a chance. He looks good. They moved KZ back to safety. That's a good move. And Oliver has been better. So like it doesn't seem. I think we should add like maybe a day 2 corner. Someone like Jeff Gladney from TCU I like a lot. Someone that can come in and compete with Oliver. Gladney can also play inside too if you need him to. Someone that can come in and make sure that Oliver has like someone behind him that can play if he's like just regresses next season. But I don't think it needs to be a first round issue. I think, look, when this team we've seen it with the Panthers game, both these Panthers game and that Saints game. When they get pressure, the defense looks good. Like if they can get pressure, the defense looks good. And in the games they've been able to get pressure, they've looked like a dominant defense. And unfortunately, those games have been few and far between. But when they do get pressure, it seems like it's like ridiculous. Like we get 5-6, sacks a game, and then we go 3 games without getting a sack at all. So obviously, I think adding more talent to the defensive line will help with that. Some of that is just natural, variation, because pass rush is one of the more variable things on a defense. But I think they have enough talent in the secondary where we don't have to spend a top 10 pick on a corner. As good as Okuda is, he is very good. Scheme versatile, all that good stuff. I just think that we need to be taking Derek Brown or Ep95 in the top 10 if that's what we're picking. Or Chase Young if he happens to be there. I would not be upset.
We're going to get Tua.
Yeah, tank for Tua. I knew it. No, the Dolphins are still going to take Tua. They still want him, I think. So we'll see if he comes. Yeah, Viral Graph 56 is asking about Isaiah Simmons. That could be a dark horse guy. Obviously not.
You need a linebacker.
Yeah, obviously I think if Derek Brown and Ep95 are there, I think you have to take one of them. But if both of those guys happen to be gone, say we're picking 8 to 10, and Isaiah Simmons is there, I mean, I would be interested in that. I think that is an interesting pick. Simmons is a rare linebacker. He's got the coverage skills of a safety. He needs to maybe be a little bit more physical with his tackling, but I mean, his range is absurd. He's just really a rare talent at linebacker, and him next to Deion Jones, I mean, that would be the best linebacker duo in the NFL. Those two.
I think Dan Quinn would take Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, if Dan Quinn's still here.
Well, yeah, I don't think he will be, but that just feels like a Dan Quinn pick.
Yeah. And he could play strong safety too. If Keanu Neal gets injured, he can play some strong safety. I would not be upset with that either. But I mean, you draft him to play linebacker, but he can take snaps as kind of a box safety type as well. I mean, that's how good his coverage is. So.
Devondre Campbell will not be here next year.
No, they can't afford him. Campbell's had a good enough back half of the season that some team is going to give him
He was a disaster in the first half.
Yeah.
But I think Oluokun will replace him. We don't have the money to re-sign him, and then you still need a third linebacker.
Yeah, we need another linebacker, certainly. I've been having the Falcons taking Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech. His stats are absurd. He has 20 tackles for loss this year. I mean, very, very rangy, athletic linebacker. But this has been the only year he's been really productive. So, he's dealt with some injuries too. So he's a guy you can get on day 3 that could really be a home run, or he could get hurt again or go back to being, very inconsistent. But I like him too as another guy that's a little bit cheaper. But yeah, I mean, Simmons would be, I think, an intriguing pick in the top 10. But yeah, I mean, I think it really has to be pass rush. Daquan Patton is asking about wide receiver need, and honestly, I've had the Falcons taking a wide receiver on day 3 to kind of round out the depth, but I think we might basically be okay at wide receiver. I mean, after Sanu was gone, Russell Gage has basically 100% replicated his production since he left. It's really uncanny. They have almost the exact same number of catches, yards, and yards per attempt over the past, from 7 games of Sanu, 6 games of Gage. It's kind of uncanny, actually. And
I just want to give a shout out to Gage. He's someone who I came into the season thinking he could potentially long-term be our slot corner, and he's become that much sooner than I thought. I thought he would be starting next season. I thought Sanu would be here all season. I thought we'd be better. But no, Gage is someone who came into he was a 6th-round pick. He was like a special teams gunner who was good for some gadget plays here and there, but obviously he's worked on it. He's worked on his craft all off season long. I don't know. I don't have any reports, but like you can tell that he was out there working on the jugs machine all off season, and working on his routes all off season. So just a big shout out to Russell Gage for just like stepping up, and he has an NFL future. If he had no receiver skills, he'd have a long career as a special teams player.
Yeah.
But he's even more valuable now.
Yeah, no, he's a guy that's going to be in Atlanta for a while. He's proven that he can be that wide receiver 3. He can be that guy, and I've been very impressed with him. He's been everything we needed him to be. Christian Blake, when he had to play for Julio, he did fine. I mean, it's not like he's Julio, but as like a wide receiver 4, I mean, he's fine. Olamide Zaccheaus, like, we've only seen him catch one ball, and it was really good. So, obviously he's going to get more opportunities now with Ridley, unfortunately, being out for the year. All these guys will.
These guys are going to mesh very well with Jerry Jeudy after we take him.
Hell yeah, brother. I mean, look, we might as well commit to Jerry Jeudy if we're not going to take a defensive lineman, because we're just going to need to score 50 points a game. And, look, we could all fantasize about Julio Jones and Jerry Jeudy and Calvin Ridley, on the field at the same time. But, that's just – it would be dumb. It would be stupid, but it would be fun at least. So,
Stupid,
be
but
stupid fun.
That's better than the current Falcons, who are stupid.
Exactly. Yeah, at least with that, it's like, okay, we know they're going all in on offense, and it like makes some kind of sense. What they're doing now, signing 2 guards in free agency and then drafting a guard at 14, I don't really know what's going on here. But, at least Lindstrom looks like he's going to be good, so that's good at least.
I mean, you passed on Brian Burns for him, so I'd hope so.
Yeah, Brian Burns honestly hasn't really started since mid-season, so I mean that might just be the Panthers being dumb. But he did have that great start to the season, and I'd still think he'd probably be better than what we have in Vic Beasley. But yeah. Let's see. Any free agents that you're interested in this year? Cody Stokes asking.
I'm not even looking at free agent. We have no money for free agents.
Yeah, I mean the top guys really are not going to be an option. Let me pull up Spotrac and just see what we're looking at here in terms of the top guys. Why is Spotrac so slow all the time? All the time, that website takes forever to load. Free agency. Show me the money. Okay, we're not interested in Drew Brees. We're not interested in those corners. No AJ Green. I guess Jadeveon Clowney's a free agent. Hey, we go after Clowney. We could finally get Clowney in a Falcons uniform, right?
Yeah, let's wave that magic money wand. I feel like a parent right now. Like, we have no money.
No, we have no money. Yeah, I mean, none of these like top guys are really anyone we can afford. Or, I mean, most of these guys are going to be re-signed. Holy crap, Devin Funchess is making $10 million a year. That is ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, not really, not really, guys. I don't think there's really a lot of guys we could afford. It's probably going to be more like minimum guys, 1 to 2 million guys, plus Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper is going to be our free agent signing, and then we're going to be having a hell of a lot of UDFAs on this roster. Probably going to have like 4 at least, because there's only like 40 guys on the Falcons roster. And
we better hit on those
draft picks. Better be good, man.
Because better be like that 2016 draft class.
Yeah. So
I want 3 starters.
Yeah. Let's see. How many guys do we have? We have 42 guys under contract in 2020. Some of them we're going to have to cut just to get under the cap. We're currently $900,000 over the cap based on projections. Yeah, I mean, so we're probably going to end up cutting like 4 of those guys to get under the cap. We're going to be signing Hooper probably, so that adds 1. So we're going to need like at least 10 players to fill out the roster. So, going to have 7 draft picks, and then probably 4 undrafted guys. So, they've been pretty good at finding undrafted guys, so don't get me wrong. But, we'll see. Obviously, like the kicker, like Younghoe Koo, probably going to be a free agent addition. Probably going to bring back a couple guys like Tyler Davison if he's affordable. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to be a player for any of these expensive free agents. It's going to be scraps for the most part. Tom Brady, yeah. Yeah, hell yeah, we're going to sign Tom Brady to be our backup just to humiliate him. I'd do that, but I'm not the GM of an NFL team actually trying to win games and not just humiliate Tom Brady. So let's see. Do you have any draft picks you really want? Any guys you really want the Falcons to take at this point, Adnan? Any guys you're obsessed with?
I mean, I'm Chase Young. I'd like for the Falcons to get Chase Young, but yeah. I mean, I think the draft. I haven't looked too deep into it yet. I will after the season ends, and we start getting into some draft takes. For now, I've tried my best to avoid draft season just because I know how saturated it gets come January, February, March. Like, it's going to be nonstop draft, and especially this season for the Falcons because we won't have any free agent news to talk about. So it's really going to be just straight nonstop draft takes. It's going to be
nonstop draft takes, which I know you guys crave. So, we'll be able to deliver that for you. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long off season. So we don't want to overdo it with that, but
yeah, and I can't wait for the season to end.
Yeah. So I know some folks were asking, like, who the Falcons can cut to save money, so on and so forth. And before I do want to talk about that a little bit. Before we get into that, though, like, I know people are like, oh, well, you can do post June 1st cuts, and that saves all this money. The thing about post June 1st cuts is you don't get the money until after June 1st. Like, the money doesn't come off the books until after June 1st. So you can cut a bunch of guys as post June 1st cuts. You just can't use that money until June, which is fine for your draft picks, but it's not fine for free agency. So, like, if we're trying to re-sign Austin Hooper, we need that money now. We need to cut guys before June 1st. So
also, I think that the CBA expires this year, and so I don't think post June 1st is going to be a thing. Like this.
I guess we'll see. Yeah. I guess we'll see. I assume they're going to go as this season will work as if it will, but yeah, I mean, I have no way of knowing, so I'm gonna assume the rules are the same, but yeah, like you said, it could be totally different. I mean, they could say that's not allowed.
I think Jason Butt hinted at, like, you won't be able to make any post June 1st cuts because of the CBA.
Yeah,
like the CBA expiring.
Yeah, so the way to get a post June 1st cut then without doing the post June 1st cuts is to just cut them after June 1st then. So you might not be able to officially do it, but if you do it after June 1st, I think it works the same way. You just maybe can't designate them. I don't know. We'll see. So if they can't do post-June 1st cuts, then that makes, obviously, things a little bit harder for some players. But, like, Luke Stalker, you saved $2.6 million straight up. Tyson Brillo, $3.75 million straight up. Alan Bailey, $4.5 million straight up. Devontae Freeman, it's better if you can make it a post-June 1st or cut him after June 1st because you can save, like, $6.5 million. If you can't, though, still save $3.5 million. Ricardo Allen was probably a prime candidate to get cut before they restructured him. Now you kind of break even on the money, but you could save like $3 million by moving on from him. The one that's very contentious, obviously, is Keanu Neal, because his fifth-year option is not guaranteed until the first day of the league year. So if they do decide to cut Keanu Neal, that's $6.4 million right there. I personally think that they're going to keep him. But, a new coaching staff might say, like, that's too much money for a safety that's missed the last 2 seasons with season-ending injuries. Maybe they'll offer him a smaller deal or, like, a multi-year contract at a lower rate. But, that is something to keep in mind as well. And also, like, the Falcons could sign Hooper to a big deal that's, like, $10 million a year, but the first year might not be that high. Like, they could probably structure it in a way that the first year of the deal will be, like, $5 million or $4 million or something like that. So they don't maybe need to free up as much as $10 million in space just to sign Hooper. So keep that in mind as well. But there are ways they can get around this problem, but they're going to have to cut some players. So it's going to be a very dependent on the draft class type of season, for better or worse. So, all right. So, Adnan, any final takes before we sign off this evening? I do want to give a shout out to Calvin Ridley and Desmond Trufant, who are going to miss the rest of the season, and we'll miss those guys. Maybe that'll guarantee us some more losses. We'll see here. But any final takes you want to fire off before we wrap up?
Please don't beat the 49ers somehow and make things easier on the Saints while screwing yourself. Shout out to the 49ers, by the way. That was the game of the year.
Hell yeah, buddy. Great job, 49ers.
I mean, yeah, anytime you can have like Saints fans just crying as much as they have this past week, it's always a good thing. Like, even though it's not that hard to, make that happen. They absolutely invaded that Superdome, by the way. Like, I saw pictures. It was just a sea of red after the game. Just like straight. There were so many of them. Yeah. And, I remember always Lil Wayne. He's from Louisiana. He said that, before 2006, before they started winning, everyone in New Orleans was either a 49ers fan or a Cowboys fan. There were no Saints fans. So, he spoke the truth, and screw the Saints.
Yes.
Screw the Saints. That's my final word.
That's our motto for the rest of the season here. So, if we can't be rooting for the Falcons, we have to be petty. So that's a requirement.
I'm just living for that, like, heartbreak that they're going to suffer this season. It gets worse and worse every year. It gets like more emotionally draining for them every year. And
they used all their voodoo to cost us our Super Bowl, and now they're like paying the price. They have no more voodoo left for themselves. So
yeah. I mean, you make deals with the devil, and he will get his due.
Yep. So, that was a great game, fantastic game. And yeah, guys, make sure you follow Adnan on Twitter at SayWhичWay. And anything that you're working on, you want to plug?
Weekly article, what if we win or lose, weekly fantasy stud and dud, and I'll probably write an article after the season talking about how this season has been a failure, and that'll pretty much be my final word on this season before just moving on from it. Yeah. You got to get that, cathartic, just dump on the season. Closure.
Yeah, it's closure. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. Guys, before I wrap us up here, do remember to like the video. That will help other folks on YouTube find it. It helps it move up the search order or some kind of voodoo analytics. And if you're not already following, subscribe to the channel. Do that as well. Hit that subscribe button, and you will get the notifications when we go live, so you don't have to scan Twitter or YouTube to look for these videos. But otherwise, guys, I am Kevin Knight. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcoholic Kevin. And I've got my usual stuff coming out this week, the stats preview and the players to watch. I had my second mock draft come out last Saturday, so you can still find that on thefalcoholic.com. And then, just check out the site, thefalcoholic.com rather. I don't know how you guys found us without finding that website, but if you happen not to know, thefalcoholic.com, the number one source for all Falcons takes and information.
One stop shop.
8 of the 10 writers are good, at least. So yeah, sorry Matt and Corey. You guys. Somebody has to carry the mantle of the bad takes. I think Matt does it proudly. So
balanced as all things should.
Exactly. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back, I guess, a little bit late on Sunday after that 4:25 game to recap what's probably going to be a loss, if we're being honest. But that's fine. You guys seem to have more fun when we lose anyway. So we'll see you then. Until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Good luck in your fantasy playoffs if you made it that far. And we will see you next time. Have a good night, folks.
Good night.